Well, I don't know. It depends what time you'll be watching this. So, hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Abs of October Red, and I'm joined by Alex Le Guevel of Matchroom, also known as Keith. How you doing this morning?
Unbelievable. Well, I've just got Google Chrome, so we're all good.
Congratulations.
We got there in the end. We got there in the end. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's not a fight week for a change. It feels like there's been a lot recently. Well, actually, no, it is.
Well,
It
it
is
is for you, like in America.
it is in Phoenix, yeah, and we've got bits and pieces going on. It's a huge fight week, to be fair. Um, I think to like boxing purists, it's probably I think people are looking at that as a potential fight of the year. So yeah, can't wait for that one, to be fair. But for me, not being a UK fight week, it's a time to sort of like get ahead of the game a little bit ahead of London coming up with Johnny Fisher and Babbage.
Yeah. How did you find the weekend? Because obviously, I know you were in Birmingham. I didn't get to catch up with you, unfortunately, and that's why we're here at the moment. So apologies. I've got a lot of time for you, Alex, and all the work that you're doing out there. I really do appreciate it. I mean, even the 5K run. Can we go back to that, because there was a charitable organisation, which I'm going to put the link, the GoFund link, in this video once it's obviously published. So I'd ask for you guys to donate. But Alex talked to us about last week's 5K run in Birmingham and the significance of that.
Yeah, it was an incredible attendance that we had. I was a little bit concerned being out at the NEC, because obviously it's not in the city centre like we usually do for
Yeah.
runs. So yeah, reached out to a lot of local clubs, and obviously what we did all week really was try to support Acocks Green, who I know is a club very close to your heart. And obviously last year when we were last in Birmingham, we visited Acocks Green and we met all sorts of different personalities. One of which was Ollie. Now Ollie's obviously had this kind of journey recently where he suffered this freak leg break in sparring. Turns out that basically had a tumor in his leg, really rare form of cancer, and the club are now raising money for him to get a prosthetic leg that's they told me on Saturday going to give him 99% mobility back. So I was saying to him that he's probably going to be down next year, sort of hustling the 5K and beating everyone. Yeah, they obviously need £70,000. They've reached 50,000 already, which is an amazing effort. But obviously, around fight week last week, we wanted to do all that we could to support. Even in the build-up, we invited Ollie down to the launch press conference so he could meet Eddie, meet some of the fighters. So just doing what we can to keep his spirits up, keep the club's spirits up, and support. So yeah, we had an amazing turnout. Encouraged donations from everyone that attended, and then we actually arranged as well for there to be like a stand that the club had on fight night, where they were going around and selling these wristbands. So yeah, luckily the NEC were really on board with that, really keen to support. So yeah, it was really good, and it was you could see how much it lifted his spirits. Eddie's been in touch with Ollie quite frequently, which I only found out last week. So it goes to show that Eddie does a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't realise. So yeah, it was a great week.
Yeah, and thank you for doing that, guys. I will post the link, but if you can go to Acocks Green Boxing on social media on Instagram, and they've got a GoFundMe link. So if you could donate anything, a quid, 50p, whatever it is, whatever you can afford to help young Ollie. This is a 16-year-old young male that's on the verge, of his life, and he's had something life changing happen to him. So we could really do with all the help that you can, to help make his life slightly easier. Yeah, it's not going to, we haven't got a magic crystal ball. None of us have. But if we can help to make his life easier, which is the donation to help him afford a better prosthetic leg, something like you said can give him that high percentage of mobile agility back, then I'd really appreciate it. He's 16, guys, and he's going through a lot. So your support would be very, very, very much appreciated. So shout out to Acocks Green, shout out to his parents as well, that have been absolutely amazing. How difficult it must be for parents, to see their son go through, all of his pain, his operation, and they've been so strong. They're beacons of light for all of us. So please, if you can, Acocks Green Boxing on Instagram, and click the GoFundMe and donate. as much as you can. We'd appreciate that. So Alex, thank you, because I know that's something that you spoke to me about that you was going to do. And like I said, coming from your position in where you are in Matchroom, that really means a lot to all of us. So thank you for that once again.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was great because, you know, for me, we're in a really privileged position, like you say, to be able to support these types of causes. And I mean, I've spoken to you before about, you know, we do the sort of fight week visits. We go and visit the clubs. It's not a case of like high and buy. You know, we don't just come and turn up in town and that's it. We're in the process of putting together, you know, real support packages around these clubs, so that they're going to benefit from, you know, greater levels of funding. Obviously, they get great sort of press and PR from our appearance in Fight Week, but which can boost participation numbers and hopefully help sustainability within the club. But no, we're looking at all sorts of different things that we can support, and things are going on behind the scenes that are kind of really going to help them long term. But something like this, you know, this is on a kind of more of a personal note, even more important, really. So yeah, it's great.
Alex, for those of our viewers that haven't really got like a job précis or a summary for what you do, we're just going to play a little bit of a catch up. So it's just to let you guys, just to let our viewers know what you do, and then we're going to talk about some of the exciting stuff that you have been doing in relation to the amateur boxing.
Yeah, cool. So I'm obviously head of community development at Matchroom Boxing. Prior to working at Matchroom, I used to work for England Boxing, so my background's in club development, supporting clubs kind of, you know, on the coal face of amateur boxing. And before I joined Matchroom, I always had this vision of how we could better connect the amateurs and the pros. You know, looking at how we kind of inspire the next generation, transform the sport from, you know, all different levels, and kind of connect the amateurs and the pros, and connect our events, our fighters, our staff with the community. You know, it's not just the case if we come to town and put on the best boxing events in the world. It's the case that, you know, we go out into the community. We're able to support in terms of funding. We're able to support in terms of publicity, promotion, inspirational moments, all sorts of different things that are hopefully going to kind of, as I say, inspire the next generation and utilize our platform as the world's leading boxing promoter to really, you know, sort of develop the next generation and improve the sport from bottom up.
Yeah, we like that. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have done? Because I think, like I said, sometimes a lot of things are done behind the scenes and we don't really see what you do. I've seen your work. I've seen the data that you've collected, which you're so specific, you can narrow down to particular areas that really do like need the help, might need possible, I don't know, help from the government in relation to funding, etc. Obviously, England Boxing probably being on the back foot with that as well, being part of that foundation of help. Let us know like some of the statistics and the figures, because I'm always into all of that stuff, and what you've actually found out from the research that you've been in post for. I think, is it 12 months?
It's, you know what? So we're on the 25th. I started on June the 26th.
Wow.
So tomorrow it'll be a year.
Look how much you've done already. But over to you. Tell us, give us a little bit of an insight of the, you know, what you've drawn from the research that you've done so far.
Yeah, so obviously, as you allude to, like we don't just turn up. We collect data on all the participants that we meet across all the different fight weeks. Because the way I see it is, well, ultimately, what we want to do with our position is to influence policy and decision making at the highest level. Obviously, that's really kind of it's quite a hot topic at the moment with potential change in government, all this kind of thing with the election coming up. So what we're looking to do is, you know, utilize the kind of the data that we collect, as well as the way I describe it. I might have explained it to you before. I call it almost like a body and head approach. So what we'll do is, like, you aim for the heart with the content pieces that we were able to create, where you sort of you know, you tug at the heartstrings. You talk about how boxing saves lives, how it, you know, the positive impacts it has on physical health, mental health, confidence, discipline, respect, all these kind of different things. But then that's great. But without hard research and data to underpin those great stories, you're only going to get so far. So what we're doing is collecting that data, and in partnership with various different academic institutions that we're kind of in the process of forming partnerships with. we're sort of narrowing down and sort of focusing in on certain areas around kind of indices of multiple deprivation. So looking at where the people that we meet, you know, this kind of communities that they live within, whether they're sort of deprived communities, whether they're more affluent, and obviously if they are deprived communities, which 40% of boxing clubs sit within the top 20% of the most deprived areas nationally. So what we're looking to do is find out, like, if these people do live within these communities, then, you know, are they actually deprived, or are they just living within those communities? So we can work out, you know, the people that are within boxing clubs, are they also deprived in terms of kind of like employability, crime, all these kind of different areas, access to education, loads of different things. So just learning more about the types of people that we work with.
One of the things that I'd like to ask you about, and I can say this from, like, you know, reading the news headlines, like listening to stuff that's going on around as well. Are you intent on potentially visiting some schools, because we've got a lot of youth at the moment that are carrying knives. There's unfortunately there's been quite a lot of attacks with knives, where unfortunately some really, you know, young children have lost their lives. And I'm going to talk, I can say that about Birmingham, Sandwell, Dudley, Wolverhampton, Warsaw in particular. Um, I think that you know, the boxing clubs are there, and some of the kids are going to the boxing clubs, but not all of them are. And I think possibly as an extension of the community, I know I'm trying to give you more work here, but potentially working with the schools or getting the boxing clubs to have that, to be a conduit between the boxing clubs and the schools, so we can start reaching out to some of the youth. Because I honestly do believe that if these young people have got something to really focus on and to put their energy into, I think that, you know, they could really strive in something. We know that boxing saves lives. We've heard the slogans: knives down, gloves up. It's all out there, but not every child is going to say, you know what, or every child's parent's going to say, get down the boxing club. It doesn't always work like that. So moving forward, and like I said, I know it's a bit of extra work. What about working with like schools to really try and push that, or get the boxing clubs? Let's have an open dialogue with the boxing clubs and schools, and I don't know, maybe even get some of those community guys to use the gyms at school and host like boxing clubs after school, 4 till 5, instead of like paying loads for, you know, childcare for parents that are out there working, trying to pay their gas bill. It's like becomes more cultured.
Yeah, no, definitely. We've done one school visit so far, and it's certainly something
Oh,
I want to do
brilliant.
more of. So I don't. You probably wouldn't have seen it when the website launches, which is going to be on the 1st of July, or the new community section of the website. You'll be able to kind of retrospectively go back and see all of the work which has been going on. So, and unfortunately, at the moment, if unless people follow me on social media, you're probably not fully aware of like all the stuff that's been going on, and that's the same case for everybody. So yeah, when the website launches, there's loads for you to sort of get your teeth into. But one school visit we did was with Brandon Scott down in Newport in Wales. And it was with not just Brandon, we also took Caitlin Bennett, who's obviously you know, one of my colleagues at Matchroom.
Yeah,
Caitlin
as Welsh.
That's it. She's from Newport, so it was all about connecting Caitlin with her hometown as well, to look at, you know, inspiring the kids around. Particularly some of the young girls about kind of aspirations and careers in sport. So we had Brandon there. He turned up dressed as Spider-Man, as he
As
does.
he does.
And he was kind of he was fantastic with the kids. But so we have done one visit to a school, but it's something I want to do more of. I was actually speaking to Johnny Fisher about it the other week. I know that Johnny's very keen to do a lot more in terms of engaging with my kind of work area. And a lot of the fighters come up to me and explain, you know, their sort of aspirations to help me more. You know, when I was with Ellie Scotney and Shannon Ryan the other week at the This Girl Can Box event in London, both of them were saying, you know, I know Ellie's got aspirations of kind of setting up her own female boxing program in London. So, you know, there's loads. Sky Nicholson's the same. There's so many of the fighters that have their own kind of ideas that they want to get off the ground. But no, schools is a vital area, as you say. It's you know, it's really the place where kids spend the most of their time, other than kind of out in the streets afterwards. So we need to make sure that when they are in school, they're kind of getting access to these kind of inspirational moments and motivational figures that we can provide that are hopefully going to steer them down the right path. Another kind of development as well, which I think I spoke to you about last week, was which we have a Matchroom charitable foundation, which a lot of people don't know about. Since 2016, we've actually donated almost £4 million to different causes, which hasn't really been promoted. Partly, like, there's been a bit of a sort of I think historically Barry's never really wanted to sort of shout about some of the donations that have been made.
Okay.
By the foundation, but it's there's huge sums of money, and only yesterday, so I've actually now been appointed as a trustee to the foundation, which is fantastic. Like, it's a really proud moment for me. But what it does is it means that I'll be a little bit more involved in the decision making process around where some of our donations go. And only yesterday there was a cause that had applied for funding called Steel Warriors, who are based in London. So it was something that when we were sort of discussing things, it was really quite interesting, because the first in the community visit that we did, the first fight week visit, was to Limehouse Boxing Academy, which is, I think it's opposite Langdon Park Tube Station in London, in Poplar. And when I got off, I remember getting off the tube when I first went there, and there's like this outdoor playground that's been built there, and there's a statue of an old boxer, and it's like a really cool area in the middle of this estate. But as you get sort of closer to it, you realise that it's actually Steel Warriors that have erected this playground, and it's basically made out of knives that have been collected from the community, melted down, and then repurposed into this outdoor playground.
Wow.
So there's about 3 or 4, I think, across London, and they're looking at expanding and doing more. And I think they're going to be an upcoming beneficiary of a sort of small grant from us at the foundation. So something I'll be keen to kind of hook some of our fighters up with when we go down to sort of make the presentation, and to really raise awareness of knife crime and the kind of the unbelievably big problem it is. I was only in Birmingham last week speaking to one of the local gyms, Ben Collins, you'll probably know. He's boxing for BCB, his amateur boxing club. They have one of the kind of like knife amnesty bins outside the club, and where the gym's situated is on an industrial estate. It's not like it's not a place that you'd kind of like naturally walk through. And they'd had 30 knives that they picked out of there the other day. So it's a huge problem. And anything that we can do, obviously this grant through the foundation is fantastic, but getting into the schools, spreading the right messages, raising awareness, we'll be doing that. So we'll get you involved. When we're up your kind of way, we'll have to get you involved. We'll go down to a school together, and we'll
I'd be so up for that, because it pains me to see another mom crying on the TV because they've lost a loved one in such a senseless way. So the stuff that you are doing with the community, it's good to see that it's like rippling out, and it's really starting to make a positive change. The year that you've had, Alex, sum it up, because I know for a fact you've overachieved in what you said you were going to do. I remember that very first conversation at the Leewood presser. I think when my light went out or whatever it was, there's always something going on with my equipment. And you had this kind of roadmap, what you intended to do. And I will sit here and honestly say, I believe that you've overachieved.
It's been a great year. Like, I'm always it's kind of like my own harshest critic as well. Like, I'm always one of these people that's kind of like, right, on to the next. What's the next challenge, and how do we make things better? But it's only when I've been, as I mentioned about the website, that I've kind of gone back through everything and kind of written up the articles and pulled together all the content and the videos and looked through everything. I've realised like there has been a lot of stuff we've done, not just here in the UK as well. I was fortunate enough to go out to San Francisco last year and did an amazing sort of visit with Devin Haney to his old Boys and Girls Youth Club in San Francisco, which was incredible, in partnership with Everlast. And we donated, I think it was 35 boxes of equipment out to young people in San Francisco, which was incredible. Like Everlast in America, absolutely. It was an amazingly generous gift to the young people. So we've done that. We've been to Dublin, Crumlin Boxing Club, with my good mate Phil Sutcliffe, who's just been doing fantastic things. Phil's actually been he's the head coach of Crumlin, and he's Conor McGregor's boxing coach. And Phil's now been appointed as a local councillor in Dublin, which is fantastic.
Wow.
So he's been a community sort of figure for years, and now he's he's really in a new kind of position to making a difference in a different way. So that's been great to see. We did a piece of work in Belfast, which is one of probably my proudest pieces of work we've done, which was hosted within a kind. I mean, obviously Belfast, a city that's had all sorts of troubles and challenges over the years, and boxing's been the kind of the one consistent thing that's brought people together in terms of community cohesion. So what we did, we hosted a boxing event for young people across the north, south, east and west of Belfast, kind of merging all the kind of different barriers that there've been, sectarian barriers over the years, and brought them together at a facility called St. Comgall's Centre, which is actually the scene of one of the first gun battles of the Troubles. So it's a building, it's an old primary school. It's been converted into a community facility. So to bring these kids to this particular building where, years ago that would never in a million years have happened, and to kind of showcase what we're doing in the community, but also spread the positive message of boxing, how it brings people together. That was really something that I was quite proud of at the time. So yeah, when you look back, like there's been some awesome stuff, like Acocks Green. That was, I think that was the second one we did. Was it there where we had the punch machine, and like that was mad.
The kids loved it.
Yeah, so good, so good. We've done loads, and there's way more to come. We've been doing the visits, we've been doing things not just during fight week. An example would be a couple of weeks ago with Hamza Uddin. I was up in Walsall.
Went to the mosques.
Went to the mosque with Hamza to just really understand. He wants to be the first British Bangladeshi world champion. Well, let's understand his community. Let's understand how important it is to them, because at this stage, we're obviously promoting Hamza as a boxer, but also we need to understand, to properly promote him, you need to understand where he comes from and what he means to the community. So a lot of what I do is, yes, it's spreading positive messages and making a difference at grassroots, but it does have a benefit to Matchroom as well in terms of how we promote the fighters, sometimes in a more human way. We see them as these kind of like gladiatorial figures. I only saw earlier someone was calling Johnny Fisher like a modern day gladiator on Instagram, and it is like they are these people, but they are just normal people as well, and they do mean something to their community. So I think that what we do can show them in a different way.
Did you get to film all of that though? Because these should be like part of like the docu-series. When we've got all Matchroom's doing all behind the scenes, a day in the life. I've always been into this because it's I think people like to call it evergreen content, the content that is there, it will last forever. It has no particular significance in any part of time. It's just relevant all through that boxer's career. So going to visit, obviously get making yourself aware of different cultures, cultural awareness, inclusivity, all of that is really good, because it doesn't just educate you guys, it educates the viewers that may not be religious or may not understand different cultures or different beliefs. And then it makes another bridge. It's like continuously building bridges between our communities, which, as we all know, in the UK is very diverse.
Definitely, it's something we're going to be doing a lot more of as well. As I say, it's not just about fight weeks. It's there's so many different causes, different fighters, different personalities, campaigns, projects that we can support. There's loads and loads of things that we're going to do, and I totally agree. We're going to be doing a lot more of these kind of almost like an origin story in a way, isn't it? With Hamza, because I've known Hamza for a long time now through the amateurs and everything. I remember I was actually I actually interviewed Hamza after one of his ABA title wins.
Really?
It's cool, a bit like I did with Giorgio as well. So it's really quite cool to like now be on a sort of similar journey with these lads, and both be sort of, you know, they're part of the Matchroom stable as much as I am. So that's been really cool. But yeah, I think these sort of origin stories and knowing where the guys come from, it makes a huge difference. I saw it with Ellie Scotney when we went back to the Disco Cam box as well, because Ellie had come through that system herself. You know, she knew Terry Kelly, the organizer. She'd been on all the squads over the years, all the kind of female sparring squads, and Ellie's been a trailblazer really for London boxing in that way. So it was great to see like how, you know, where Ellie had come from, but also how much going back meant to her. So yeah, there's so many things we have done, and there's so much more we will be doing.
And this is what I'm saying about the impact, Alex. You don't know that, you know, that school you go into, that boxing club you go into, just, you know, by chance, there's that one person in there that could have been on, you know, a road to destruction or about to participate in something that they could end up regretting for the rest of their life. And being able to, I mean, you'll never know, but that person like comes out of it and like makes something of themselves, even if they don't become a world champion, but they find discipline, organization, self-control, all of these key elements that are part of boxing that are not often shown. I mean, we heard Eddie Hearn and Ben Shalom talk about, you know, Tyler Denny, his work ethic. Some people live the life. It's about that discipline. And boxing, I mean, I'd say boxing next to the military is something that really gives you that discipline and that focus, because you can feel motivated and, yeah, I'm going to do this today. But without discipline, you won't do it. And boxing gives you that, because it's like, yeah, we're boxing 5 days a week, be there at 5 o'clock. We're doing it till 6:30. And it's like you're getting into that routine. So when your mates are saying, come on, let's go and do this and let's go and do that, it becomes part of your routine to say, well, actually, no, because I'm really enjoying this. And there's a community spirit about boxing anyway. You go into any club and it's like a family.
Yeah, it really is. It's these clubs are way more than just a boxing club. Like,
Absolutely.
and when we do these visits, you know, particularly the things we do in fight week, where usually, you know, obviously it's more likely that Eddie will be about during the fight week to be able to go and visit. And when you see like with the fighters as well, it's exactly the same. Like when you see the reaction to like when Eddie or the fighters turn up, like for us, it isn't just like, oh, another visit for us, but it could feel like that. You know, if we do these a lot, we do them every fight week. We go around, we do
I
these
get
all over
it.
the world. So it could feel like that, but when you see the reaction of the kids, like, you know that for them, it's the kind of moment they're gonna, when they'll be like, you know, the time, oh, do you remember when we met Eddie? Do you remember when we met, you know, such and such, whichever fighter it was? It's you can just see like I've had it with you know, obviously we're going to be expanding the Shadow Box program, which is offering young people the opportunity for work experience opportunities within the boxing industry.
Talk to us about that. Talk to us about that.
So Shadowbox is, as I say, we're working with Street Games, a big, huge national charity, in the sport for development sector, looking at offering young people from kind of marginalised communities work experience within the boxing industry. So the best case study so far would be TJ, who we work with in Newcastle. I'm not sure whether you'd have seen that, but so TJ is a 17-year-old lad from the northeast, and he's got a particular interest in. He's been a youth advisor with Street Games for a number of years now, and he joined us for our Masood San Martin fight week, and he's got a particular interest in social media, videography, editing, and you know, when you get people come on work experience, you're kind of thinking like, oh, I hope he's good, hope he's not going to be hard work here. And TJ turned up on the first day of fight week and just blew us all away, like constantly asking questions, constantly, of everyone, not just me, but kind of social team, wanting to learn, really keen to learn, and also showed like incredible competency with a lot of the skills already. He's been helping his dad, who runs a lot of the kind of northeast small hall boxing promotions. He basically runs their socials and does everything already, which is amazing at such a young age. So he came as, you know, not the finished article, but something that, you know, sort of like a rough diamond that can be polished. And I realized on the first day that, you know, TJ is well capable of actually doing a piece to camera and presenting our piece in the community that week. So he joined Frank Smith, Cyrus Patterson, and I on a visit to the East Durham ABC boxing show. And if you check out the Matchroom YouTube channel, then you'll see TJ's piece where he basically presented boxing from the northeast.
And I've
And it was
watched that.
amazing. Yeah, oh, it was amazing. I'll send you the link if you've not seen it. It's incredible. Like you'll see the potential. You know, he's a seriously good kid. And yeah, all week TJ also produced his own vlog. You know, sort of behind the scenes, sort of talking about his experiences. He was helping Matty on fight night with like media and sort of chaperoning media and all sort. He what did he do? He helped with some of the content for the Flash Knockdown podcast that week. He did loads and loads of stuff.
Wow.
But he threw himself right in. And TJ is the prime example of the type of young person that we want to support. You know, someone that's got a huge potential there, but maybe hasn't been afforded the opportunities. So yeah, that's something that we're going to be rolling out. He's been almost like the case study, the pioneer. And we also met another young lady in Manchester, Arissa, again through Street Games. And we did like a backstage experience for Arissa, where she met Rhiannon Dixon fresh out of the ring when she just won her world title. Got a shout out Rhiannon, just absolute legend. Like it's unbelievable how she was with Arissa. I think we're going to be doing like a follow-up piece because Rhiannon, again, this is the kind of thing where people don't. A lot of fighters sort of, you don't realise the things that they do behind the scenes. But Rhiannon was saying to Arissa that so Arissa does a lot of work with the Manchester United Foundation and kind of young people in the local area. She's actually a Premier League, I think you call them community champions. So she's done loads of work there. And Rhiannon sort of said to her, I'll come out and I'll support your work in the community. So we're going to do a bit of a sort of revisited where Rhiannon and Arissa
videoed.
Exactly right. Exactly.
Part of this portfolio.
Exactly. So there's so many things that people don't kind of see just because we can't film everything, but it's with these kind of backstage moments where you see the fighters interacting with the young people and you realize like these fighters are seriously nice people and they really do want to kind of give back. So yeah, that's Shadowbox and that'll be expanding a lot over the kind of next year. There's been so much, obviously in my first year in a brand new role, so many things where you just got to sort of lay the foundations and get things, get the right partners on board, work out how things are going to be funded, work out if there's an application process, what that's going to look like. And, there's so many sort of things that layers to it. But a year in, we're almost there with everything now. And obviously the website will be the landing page where you can find this information. So
I take it you've got about 10 staff doing all of this then?
I wish one day for sure. The community department will be expanding, but for the time being, it's me, and hopefully, sort of beginning to make the impact, as you alluded to, with the data and all this kind of stuff, and paired with the other sort of content we can produce. I think we are beginning to make an impact, and obviously we have accessed. Some sort of high level conversations already with the APPG for boxing that I attended. Where I did a presentation on kind of Matchroom in the community, the work that we're doing, some of the data that we have collected, speaking to, it was one of the easiest presentations I've ever given, to be fair. People were like, yeah, what was it like presenting in Parliament? And was it daunting? But it's really not when you're preaching to the converted, because that group is basically a group of MPs. Yeah, they're there because they all have a common interest in amateur boxing and grassroots sport. So you're speaking to people that get it. So I think from speaking to a few of them after that presentation, I think it was really refreshing to have Matchroom in the room, and a genuine commitment from the professional side of the sport to give back. So I would encourage. I think we've probably spoken about it before. What would you do if Queensbury bring someone in like boxer or whoever? Like, they should be doing it, man. Everyone should be doing it. It's the more that the professional side of the sport can give back, the better. Obviously, we'll just do it better. That's what it will be.
The caveat.
That's it. But no, it would be fantastic for everyone within the kind of professional boxing community to give more back to the amateurs, because without that, there wouldn't be any professional boxing. So.
Yeah, I've had a comment because obviously I put out, I'm going to be speaking to this person on my YouTube. I like to keep people updated. So shout out to all of my subscribers. You're fantastic. I have got the best subscribers. I will say that. They're the most interactive subscribers on YouTube, and they're all on my channel. So yeah, shout out to all of you lot. Right, one of my subscribers called Cossi STEM 8013 has said, and I think he used the name because one of his idols is Costamato, obviously Mike Tyson's trainer. So that's where the name comes from. It says, "Hi Red, hope you're well. You say you're going to meet up with Alex Le Guevel from Matchroom Boxing, who's supposed to be involved with the amateur side of the business, yet they've not been attending any amateur clubs which belong to the Amateur Boxing Association, ABA, the oldest amateur organisation in the UK. Because of its background, i.e. from England boxing, Matchroom are only visiting the clubs that are associated on are members of England boxing. How is this subjective and a true reflection of the amateur scene in the UK? I have contacted him directly on numerous times, but I'm yet to receive a reply." Can't
Interesting.
please everyone, which I'll start off with that. But yeah, have you got any
Oh,
response to that?
no, I know that from when I started. I remember one of the first things Frank Smith said to me is, "Don't read all the comments on
Oh,
on
right.
the videos you put out."
I read all the comments, but yeah.
That's it. But no, honestly, that's a very good question, to be fair. And what I would say is, I've got a pretty good response to it, because the only club so far, the only amateur boxing club that we've actually donated to through the Matchroom Charitable Foundation, isn't a member of England Boxing. Lynn AC are a member of the Amateur Boxing Alliance as it stands. It may well be that they'll end up going back to England Boxing. But obviously, yeah, my background is England Boxing, and I've worked with there's over 1,000 clubs now that are part of England Boxing, and there's substantially less that are part of the Amateur Boxing Alliance. So just purely on numbers, it's far more likely that you'll be working with an England Boxing club when you visit, just purely based on numbers. But I'm very keen to kind of support all different organisations. Part of the reason that I would lean towards working with England Boxing clubs is because to be part of the NGB, you have to adhere to certain codes of safeguarding, all their governance documents.
What's the NGB? Sorry to interrupt.
Our national governing body.
Right, NGB, okay.
Yeah, so England Boxing are basically they're the funded body by Sport England, which is essentially the government's arm for grassroots sport.
Fair enough.
So that they are who the government fund to deliver amateur boxing within this country. So purely based on that and the work we're doing with government, it makes a lot more sense to kind of align more so with them. But saying that, we supported the Lynn, the oldest boxing club in amateur boxing club in the country, and we're keen to support the sport at all levels. That one was a really great project for us because there's so many links with the Lynn. With, again, going back to Ollie Scotney,
Mike Costello.
There's so many people that are involved with Matchroom that have kind of some sort of affinity to that, and it was a brilliant project. So yeah, it's we certainly have absolutely nothing against any different sort of governing body, but I think just based on numbers, there's just so many more England boxing clubs, and I think the work that we're doing with government, it makes more sense to align there. And also, as I would say, boxing clubs that are affiliated with England Boxing, there are strict codes that they have to adhere to in terms of coaching qualifications, safeguarding, child protection. Not that there aren't within the alliance, but they aren't recognised in the same way that they are from England within England boxing clubs. So yeah, it's certainly not a no. We're open to support everybody, but it's a very good question, and it's always a bit of a hot topic within amateur boxing. Some people like England boxing, some people don't, and it's
Right.
there's
That's learning for me because I didn't realize there was a difference. So this is what I'm saying. You guys are teaching me something new because I sort of always had the professional eye on the professional side. But as the years have gone by, I'm starting to learn more about the amateur system.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize there was a difference.
There's a lot of different things to take into consideration with it as well, because obviously, like, you've had the whole thing with, like, if you go down into like boxing in the Olympics as well,
Yes.
obviously it was IEBA, now IBA, who were delivering boxing at the Olympics, but then there's been a lot of kind of concerns around that, and links with with Russia and all these kind of different things. And then subsequently, there's been a new organisation formed called World Boxing, who are now most of the like GB and the USA and most of the sort of the big nations in amateur boxing are now part of World Boxing. So it's there's even kind of this split at the highest level in the sport. And England Boxing have aligned themselves with World Boxing. So currently, if you are a young person with aspirations of boxing in the Olympics, if you're part of an England Boxing club, then you can develop through the England Boxing pathway into GB, and then to boxing the Olympics under this World Boxing banner, as long as that gets kind of sorted. If you're in an alliance boxing club, then they're not affiliated with England Boxing or World Boxing. So currently, someone in one of those clubs wouldn't have the pathway to be able to progress to the Olympics. So that's a consideration that the young person would make. The amateur boxing club. There's all kind of different things. So yeah, it's a little bit different to some sports. It's quite splintered.
Yeah.
I've always found that with kind of combat sports working in the past, there's people. It attracts kind of like combative sort of opinions as well, which is a great thing. But then you do get these splinters. So it's an interesting one. It will probably, if anyone from the amateur boxing community watches this section, there'll be all sorts of opinions. You'll probably get a load of comments. It's an interesting area, and I can see both sides. Both sides of the coin really in terms of opinions. So.
No, I appreciate that, and thanks for the enlightenment. Because, like I said, I didn't even realize there was a difference. But we're gonna end, and we're gonna end on a positive note. So, what is next from Alex, aka Keith?
Have you explained Keith, by the way, to the?
No, I'll let you explain Keith. But to me, that's your new name now.
So I don't know how, but it was at the Leeds event recently that when I went to check into the hotel, I had a bit of trouble checking in. I mean, my surname's obviously caused me all sorts of issues over the years anyway with that sort of thing. But it wasn't the surname that was a problem. I was down as, rather than being Alex Le Guevel, it was Keith. And they couldn't find an Alex. So, and I know you absolutely love it because Keith.
No, but I don't understand.
It needs to make a comeback, isn't it?
Yeah, but I just don't understand how Alex could ever be Keith.
Me either.
Because there's just no similarities. There's not like it's just random.
It is so random.
Random as a round tree.
Yeah, I'd love to know how it came about. I'd love to know.
Well, it's your new. I should have changed it on here now to Alex
Le
Keith.
Yeah,
Le Guevel.
Because I had the option of choosing a name when I joined. I should have done that.
Yeah, you should have done it. Put Keith in the middle. So what is next from you guys? What's the plan? Because this umbrella that you've got now has got several different subsidiaries under it, and it doesn't seem to be getting any smaller and any more compact. It's just growing. Here we go. Take 917.
It was me first time, then you this time.
Oh mate, listen, it's been. I should have known. It's like, yeah. Anyway, creepy internet, whatever. Finally, we're going to cover, obviously, moving forward, the positives. We always like to end on a positive. So moving forward, the massive trajectory, the umbrella that you formed with the different subsidiaries underneath it. What's next?
All sorts. So I can't remember which bits I covered on the first bit. So what did I talk about? I think it was so we've obviously got the strategy that we've been working on in the background, which is going to massively help direct the work that we're doing.
Yeah, that's
yeah. So that's something that's right now is a really good fit, but it may evolve over time. It may be that more things get added or things get removed, but it's certainly going to help me in terms of we get absolutely inundated with requests for support, for funding, for visits, for whatever it is that's going to help an amateur boxing club, and we can't obviously fulfill every single request, but what this strategy will do is really sort of help direct things so that we're going to the causes and the projects and the organizations that are the most impactful for both sides, because what we want to do is make the biggest impact that we possibly can by visiting the organizations where we can have the most impact. So that's something that's going to be going on. We've also got, as well as the Shadow Box project, there's a couple of others that are going to be launching. So there's one called Ringside Recycling, which is looking at repurposing canvases from Fight Night, but also plugging in some of our sort of different brand partners as well to look at a care package for amateur boxing clubs. So you know what it's like when you go to an amateur boxing gym. Most of the canvases are a little bit worn, so to speak. So it'd be nice to kind of do something with the Fight Night canvases, and the gyms get something that's they're literally walking in the footsteps of their heroes, really, in that sense. but yeah, we want to add more things to that package as well, so that clubs really do benefit. So just working out the final bits of how the application process for that will look, and obviously when the website launches, then there'll be a home where all the information can be found. And the other one where there's been a few kind of barriers we've had to overcome, particularly like behind the scenes financially with the funding and how things are going to work between us and our partners on the project. But we're looking at we are going to be launching something called Matchroom Makeovers, where what we do is each year there'll be a number of amateur boxing clubs up and down the UK that benefit from a kind of refurbishment and renovation in partnership with an organisation called VIY, which stands for Volunteer It Yourself. So I did a lot of work with VIY in the past when I was with England Boxing.
That's like that. Remember that program where they used to like do an appeal, and then they used to do a whole makeover on the house?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, you might remember a few years ago there was a DIY SOS did a project
That's it.
with Dale
Yes.
Youth Boxing Club and the Power
Yes.
Day Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they obviously Dale Youth was formerly housed within Grenfell, and then obviously with everything that happened there and the whole tragedy, the boxing club needed rehoming. So there was a whole thing that the BBC did with DIY SOS and Power Day and all these different partners to build them a new club and sort of refurbish and renovate everything. So similar to that, we'll be doing those up and down the country as a bit of a series. But the real kind of impact with that project is not just the facility, but it's also the young people we'll be working with. So VIY, the reason for working with them, and this is where partnerships is such an important thing for me, particularly in building like a workforce, with it just being me at the moment in the community department, working with partners could almost build me a workforce in a way, but also they can help legitimise the Matchroom brand within the sport for development space. Like we all know what Matchroom is as a brand within boxing,
yeah.
But in this space, the community space, the kind of sport for development space, we're new, so working with the right partners is vital in kind of legitimising us and making people realise it's not just a PR thing, which it certainly isn't. So yeah, what VIY do is work with 14 to 24-year-olds who are NEET, so not in education, employment or training. So young people that might have been going down the wrong path in their life, or certainly are at risk of doing so. And what they do is they pair them up with local tradespeople, mentors in the community. And those young people that are refurbishing and renovating the club will, get sitting guilds qualifications, learn trades, and benefit themselves. And many of them, from experience of working on these projects previously, many of them will actually end up going to the boxing gym. Maybe not boxing, but they might go for self-confidence, fitness, mental health, well-being, all this kind of thing. So that's the one. I can't wait to get that one off the ground. We're not far away now as well. So it's that one's going to be a really cool series to watch, but it's also going to be something that has a genuine impact as well. So yeah, can't wait. And there's so many more, but that's the kind of the headlines, I'd say.
I like it. What a way to end. It's been an absolute pleasure. A really nice positive note to end on. Thank you, Alex, for all that you're doing within the boxing community. I hope more people can see that now. Guys, if you're not already, please follow Alex Le Guevel on social media. Are you on Twitter as well?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. Yeah. It's all just my name.
Yeah, or Alex's name. I call him Keith. If you pop up on any of his posts, say October Red said to say hi, Keith, and then you'll know that I've sent you over there. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, it's good to see the support that you guys are doing. It's always a pleasure to catch up. Oh my gosh, where will you be a year from now? I can't wait for this catch-up series.
Who knows? I'll tell you the next stop, though. To be fair, you're talking about next steps. We've got London Fight Week coming up, but the next step after that, how I got into this is my old mate Kieran Conway. And Kieran
Shoebox, shout out the Shoebox Gym.
That's it. So the next stop will be Japan, and I'll be out there on going back to the roots as Cutman. So I'll be there on Cutman duty with Kieran.
Jack of all trades.
And this is it. So yeah, can't wait for Japan. I looked at the forecast the other day, and it's looking absolutely roasting.
Amazing.
So that'll be good. But yeah, obviously can't wait for Prize Fighter. It's going to be an amazing tournament. He's fingers crossed for Kieran. We're taking my Matchroom hat off. I have to be clear. I'm taking my Matchroom hat off there and firmly sticking the Kieran Conway hat on. Good luck to Kieran in Japan as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Kieran. Shout out to all the Shoebox Massive. I've met them on a few occasions, and I know you always walk solid. That is your home gym, no matter what. You'll always choose
Can't
that.
get down there as much as I used to be able to, but
What? I've
I'm
seen you
always
turn up. I've seen you
yeah.
turn up for the
I'm
fight.
actually doing cuts this weekend as well for Ben Vaughan. Shout out to Ben
See?
Vaughan as well, fighting British title eliminator this weekend. So yeah, fingers crossed for Ben this weekend too.
See, he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end before my internet decides to like just blow up this time. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Please follow Alex Le Guevel on X, on Instagram. Keep updated with what's going on. The website for Matchroom in the Community will be launched on July the 1st. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to be on there. Hopefully there'll be like a community forum as well, where all of the different amateur clubs can exchange like advice and tips, and yeah, and say a lot. It's got to be Keith. You've got to say hi, Keith. But yeah, on that note, as we said, October Red, stay ready. Keith, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.